The 7 rules of sex, how to thrust and last longer in bed. There are 3 kinds of guys in the bedroom. The first guy finishes in 2 minutes, rolls over, and tells himself she probably liked it anyway. The second guy has watched every tutorial, read every Reddit thread, bought every supplement, and still can't figure out why she looks disappointed when it's over. And then there's the third guy. He doesn't talk about what he does in the bedroom. He doesn't need to. She does that for him. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to become that third guy, not through tricks or gimmicks, but through a genuine rewiring of how you move, breathe, think, and command the experience from start to finish. Rule 1. Your breath is your engine. Most men treat sex like a sprint. Heart rate spikes, breath gets shallow, jaw clenches, and your nervous system reads all of that as an emergency signal. Your body doesn't know the difference between a lion chasing you and intense physical arousal. Both activate the same sympathetic response, and both push you toward one outcome: finish fast and survive. So the first rule isn't a move, it's not a position, it's your breath. Deep, deliberate, diaphragmatic breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body that says, slow down, you're safe, stay here, try it right now. Inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 6. Feel your shoulders drop. That's the state you need to carry into the bedroom. Because when you breathe like you're panicking, you perform like you're panicking, and she feels every second of it. Rule 2. Your hips were built to communicate. Pornography has destroyed an entire generation of men's understanding of how thrusting actually works. What you see on screen is performance, exaggerated, mechanical, and designed for a camera angle, not for a woman's body. The result is a generation of men jackhammering like they're trying to win something and wondering why she's just lying there waiting for it to be over. Real thrusting is communication. It's rhythm, it's pressure, it's depth variation. Your hips are not a piston. They're a language. Shallow thrusts stimulate the front wall where her sensitivity is highest. A deep, slow grind applies pressure and communicates dominance without aggression. A rolling motion, where you don't fully pull back but rotate forward, creates sustained friction in ways that rapid in and out movement simply cannot. The men who make women obsessed aren't going harder, they're going smarter. They're reading feedback, they're adjusting, they're making the experience feel like a conversation, not a monologue. Rule 3. Slow is the most powerful speed. You've been lied to about what feels good, not just to you, to her. The cultural script says intensity equals pleasure, and speed equals intensity. So men speed up, and women brace through it, and nobody says anything because it's uncomfortable to have that conversation. Here's the raw truth. Slowing down takes more confidence than speeding up. When you slow down, you're exposed. There's nowhere to hide behind momentum. She can feel every deliberate movement. Your presence is undeniable. That vulnerability is exactly why most men avoid it, and exactly why the men who embrace it become unforgettable. Slow down to the point where each thrust is intentional. Hold at depth. Let the tension build in the pause before you move again. That pause, that's where she stops thinking about her grocery list and starts gripping the sheets. Rule 4. The 70% rule. Here's where physiology meets strategy. Your body has a point of no return, a threshold of arousal past which ejaculation becomes involuntary and unstoppable. Most men spend the entire encounter hovering at 95% of that threshold and then act surprised when they cross it. The solution is the 70% rule. Never let yourself climb above 70% arousal intensity without deliberately pulling back. This isn't stopping, it's modulation. Change your rhythm, shift positions, slow your breathing back down, move to something non-penetrative for 60 seconds. You're not losing momentum, you're resetting the clock. Elite performers in any physical domain know that the ability to regulate your own intensity is the difference between lasting and collapsing. Sex is no different. You are the one in control of your throttle. Start driving like it. Rule 5. Your mind is either your biggest asset or your worst enemy. Here's something nobody tells you because it requires a level of honesty most men aren't comfortable with. The reason you finish too fast isn't always physical. Sometimes it's mental. You're in your head, monitoring yourself like a critic sitting in the back row of a theater, grading your own performance in real time. Am I lasting long enough? Does she like this? Am I doing it right? And every second you spend asking those questions, you are pulling yourself out of your body and into your anxiety. That internal audience is killing you. The psychological term for it is spectatoring, and it is one of the most common and least talked about causes of poor sexual performance in otherwise healthy men. The fix is not to think less, it's to think differently. Anchor your attention to sensation, not evaluation. What does her skin feel like under your hands right now? What does her breathing sound like? What is the specific pressure you're feeling at this exact moment? Sensory presence is the antidote to performance anxiety. You cannot be fully inside a sensation and fully inside a fear at the same time. Choose one. The men who last choose sensation every single time. Rule 6. Tension is the ingredient you're skipping. Most men treat foreplay like a loading screen, something to tolerate before the real game starts. That is the single most expensive mistake you're making, and you are paying for it in minutes. Here's the biology. Female arousal builds slowly and peaks late. Male arousal builds fast and peaks early. When you skip tension building and go straight to penetration, you are starting a race where she's at the starting line and you're already at mile 4. You will always finish first, not because you lack stamina, because you ignored the setup. Tension is not just physical. It is psychological. It is the look that lasts a second too long. It is deliberate slowness when she expects speed. It is your hands moving with intention, not urgency. When you build tension properly, when you make her wait, make her anticipate, make her need, two things happen simultaneously. Her arousal climbs to meet yours, and your own urgency decreases because the pressure valve of tension has already been partially released before penetration even begins. You don't start the clock at penetration. You start it the moment you walk into the room. Rule 7. Dominance is direction, not force. This is the rule that separates the men she tells her friends about from the men she never mentions again. Dominance in the bedroom is not aggression. It is not performance. It is not something you put on like a costume. It is the quiet, unwavering certainty that you know what you want, you know how to get it, and you are fully present for every second of the experience. It lives in how you position her without asking permission 15 times. It lives in the pause before you move, that deliberate stillness that says, I am in no rush, and you are exactly where I want you. It lives in eye contact, held a beat past comfort. Real dominance is direction with calm behind it. It is decisiveness without cruelty. When you operate from that place, something shifts in the entire dynamic of the encounter. She stops being a passive participant and becomes genuinely activated, not because you overpowered her, but because your certainty gave her permission to let go of hers. That is what she's been waiting for. Not a man who performs dominance, a man who simply is it. The men who are unforgettable in the bedroom are not the ones with the most techniques. They are the ones who stopped performing and started inhabiting. Their breath, their rhythm, their presence, their desire. You already have everything you need. You've just been spending it in the wrong direction. The goal was never to last longer. The goal was always to be fully there. Most men never show up at all.